Christian Geek Central is doing Extra Life again this year to raise funds for children in urgent need of medical care. You can help us out and get some fun rewards at the same time. Stick around after the video for more details. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a ton going on here at Spirit Blade Productions and Christian Geek Central, including our in-depth Bible study for geeks, movie, game, and other entertainment reviews or commentary, live streams, Christian geek news, original audio dramas, and tons more. And on top of all that, you can become a Spirit Blade insider with an influential voice and get access to exclusive content and rewards. It's your involvement as a patron that will keep all of this going and growing, so I want to thank you for your consideration in that. For more information, please check out our Patreon page through the link below at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Thanks for listening. I do not understand what I do, but for what I want I do, Chesed, son of Shalom, Ahiez, or Pedazur. That really means something, doesn't it? All right, we're chapter 4 now, verses 1 through 9, and the ESV reads, "Hear, O sons, a father's instruction, and be attentive, that you may gain insight. For I give you good precepts. Do not forsake my teaching. When I was a son with my father, tender, the only one in the sight of my mother, he taught me and said to me, let your heart hold fast my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get insight. Do not forget and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake her, and she will keep you. Love her, and she will guard you. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom, and whatever you get insight. Prize her highly, and she will exalt you. She will honor you if you embrace her. She will place on your head a graceful garland. She will bestow on you a beautiful crown." All right, what's jumping out at you, if anything, in those verses?
Okay, so this is where translations kind of get a little bit different. In the King James and in the New King James, instead of using the word insight, they use understanding.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it is basically the same thing, I would say. But, the idea of listening to instruction, to pay attention, to gain discernment, this is not passive. It takes effort.
Yeah.
Wisdom and understanding don't just, seep into your ears and go to your brain. You have to really work at it. And part of it is being in God's Word and being around people who understand God's Word and giving time and attention to what other people have to say about God's Word, and giving time and attention to just sit down. You read a passage and just sit there and think about it, and don't worry about if you're getting it necessarily right. Because I think if we're in a community, I really like what you say in the podcast a lot, is that nearly everything in the Bible is written with the understanding of being in a community. And this is as well. The book of Proverbs is as well. Especially, we'll go along and it'll talk about, being among counselors and things like that. That is very important. And giving good instruction, in verse 2, where it talks about, for I give you, and then again the New King James Version, I give you good doctrine, do not forsake my law. Part of this idea of gaining wisdom and gaining instruction shows that there has to be, it's not just effort on your own part, but effort on someone else's part to impart that to you. It just doesn't come. It's passed down. Verses 3 and 4 talk about how it's passed down through the family. Yeah. It's up to us to pass it on further. There's just a lot here about really being active. Verse 7 is a very interesting verse. In some translations, verse 7 is actually eliminated.
Okay.
It doesn't exist in some of the texts, but and I think we talked a little bit about way at the beginning. We talked about how some of the things in Proverbs actually came from the culture around Israel.
Yeah. That
Solomon brought them in, and when we get way down further in Proverbs, you'll hear about Hezekiah's men who went and collected additional proverbs and found additional proverbs to put in this book. But this is, wisdom is the principal thing, is what it says in the New King James. It's the first thing, or the chief thing, is what you could say. It is something that above everything else, that is the one thing you want to pursue. And if you think about it, if you're pursuing biblical wisdom first, really all the other things kind of take care of themselves. Your finances are going to take care of yourselves. How you deal in relationships with other people is going to take care of itself. And if we start pursuing I need to know, and these kinds of books are great, how to win friends and influence people, and sure, knowing how, knowing the love language of your spouse. These are all great things. But if you're pursuing wisdom first, that's going to come, because most of the principles that are in those books, they come from the Bible.
Yeah.
So you could just read the Bible. I'm all for books. I love reading different books, but you could just read the Bible, because that's where they're getting most of the principles from. And then just finally in verse 11 about how
I don't think we're at verse 11.
Or not verse 11. I'm sorry, verse 9.
Okay.
How wisdom looks on a person, about how it's an ornament of grace and a crown of glory. Wisdom looks good on you. And there's plenty of people who you might see someone and you might think that person has it all together, and then they open their mouth. And as soon as they open their mouth, your whole opinion changes. So that's all I have for those first 9 verses.
Okay. I noticed with just like verse 3, when he says, "When I was a son with my father, tender, the only one on the side of my mother, he taught me and said to me," it brings up again, like you mentioned, the context of community and the context of learning this in family and in relationships with others. I think this can speak both to people that are parents like you and I, and people that aren't. For you and I think this is a reminder to me. It's like I have really got to make sure that my relationship with my boys is really healthy. And that they know that I have deep affection for them, and that they experience that they have regular experiences of my affection, my dedication, my commitment to them, so that there's that. My voice has some weight in their lives, rather than just authority. It has some significance, to their hearts, because of the relationship that I have with them, and even the mother is brought kind of into the context here. He's thinking fondly on his family life as a child.
Right.
His mother, looked on him like he was the only one.
Yeah.
And which he may have been. We've talked about the author and all that stuff, but. So that really jumped out at me actually just now. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, verse 7. Even though it's contested, is it's interesting to me, just kind of like the bluntness of it. It's like the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. That's the beginning. Just go get it. Okay, don't sit navel gazing. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom. And it's just start now. And as as I think you said something similar. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's that. And actually, if you look, so you're reading out of the. I mentioned, that part of this. It's not the whole verse that's missed, but that whole thing where it says wisdom is the principal thing.
I see.
That's what's in the New King James.
I see.
But it's not in the ESV.
I see. Okay,
so
that's the contested
it's not the
part.
whole verse. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a portion of it is contested.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I may have misspoke and said that the whole verse was contested. But
Oh, that's all right. I don't remember. Hey guys, Peter Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. For my 5th consecutive year, I'm participating in Extra Life, a charity event that raises funds to provide medical care for children in urgent need. I'm also leading the Christian Geek Central Extra Life team, which you're still welcome to join by following the link in the description below. Once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will live stream to youtube.com/Christian Geek Central and christiangeekcentral.com beginning 6 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, November 3rd. My goal is to raise $200 for my children's hospital. Our total team goal is to raise $700. You can donate on my page or any team members' pages by following the links below. You'll also find some incentives and rewards for donating to some of our team members. On my page, for example, for $5 or more, you can choose a topic to add to my +2 page of many topics that I'll be blabbing my opinions on during my live stream. For $10 or more, you get that previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Legacy Edition audio drama. For $20 or more, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 3rd live stream. You can pick a favorite of yours that's in my library or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. For $30 or more, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 3rd live stream. Pick an old favorite of yours or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something that nobody wants to hear. For $50 or more, you get all those previous rewards and you get a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's a $90 value. Now, on top of all that, I've set fundraising milestones that will unlock crazy events as I reach them in my personal fundraising. When I reach $200, I will have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 7th this year. And every $50 beyond $200 unlocks more free audio dramas for that free download day. Along with free audio dramas, reaching milestones in my personal fundraising will unlock weird stunts that I will pull during my November 3rd live stream, like turning into a monster, reenacting a moment from a favorite horror movie, or playing intensely embarrassing home videos from my past. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all of the details. I hope you'll be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central team do some good for some kids who really need it. And then please join me at youtube.com/Christian Geek Central for my 24-hour video gaming marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, November 3rd. Hope to see you then.